Welcome to RGBA, colorful tech news and reviews. This is episode 49. My name is Alexandre Valia-Lagacé, and I'm joined by my co-host, Tyler Menard.
So we start off this week with a little bit of Apple Watch news. There's a couple of companies that make apps for the Apple Watch and just stopped making apps for the Apple Watch, and they shipped an update without an update to the Apple Watch app, and the Apple Watch app was uninstalled from the watch. So these companies are Amazon, eBay, and Google Maps. I don't see a problem with eBay and Amazon. I do see a problem for Google Maps though, because it's actually useful to have the directions on your phone. I don't see why you want to have like shop Amazon or buy one click with your watch, or same thing for eBay. They can still push notifications and you can see like, this item is ending soon. Like this, you bidded on this item and somebody overbid you. So I don't know why you need a dedicated app for the watch.
Yeah, that is weird though, that three companies like that are unrelated, like just basically remove the app at the same time. It feels like maybe they were using like a framework or a third party that either had a problem or was not being supported anymore, or basically somebody else had problems with app review because of that framework or library. So maybe they decided to just pull it from the latest release for now until that third party gets his shit together, I guess. Because that's like unrelated, like three companies like that.
And also Google commented, we removed the Apple Watch support from our latest iOS release, but expect to support it again in the future.
Yeah, which kinds of points to that problem they might have. So yeah, it's weird, but yeah, I don't think they're gonna drop the whole support for it. I think it's just like temporary, and we'll get some new version eventually. Maybe not too long.
And what's also funny is it took a couple of days for people to pick it up and say, "Hey, where's my eBay?" So it means nobody uses them.
Yeah. Do you use your Apple Watch for some apps regularly?
I use the Now Playing app and the Overcast, so I can skip forward and all that, but that's it.
Yeah, but for Overcast there's like a delay before the app is like refreshed and the skip ahead works.
It's not too bad.
Yeah, okay, maybe it's just mine, but there's such a delay that it's faster for me to just click a second time and go back to the Now Playing screen and do it from there. And even if the image and title is wrong, it still works for the skip ahead, and after maybe 5 or 6 seconds, the proper show heart and title appears.
Oh, they have skip ahead now.
They always had?
I think because I think they replaced the little logos, the little it used to be like fast forward and rewind.
Yeah.
So I thought it was gonna skip a show in the playlist instead of just skipping 15 seconds in the actual podcast I'm listening to.
Well, if you're listening to music, yes, it's previous and next track.
Right. But
as soon as the Now Playing is playing like audio from Overcast, it basically just is your setup of skip ahead and backwards.
Okay, I'm pretty sure it wasn't like that before, because I remember seeing rewind and fast forward.
Yeah, I think the watch was just not refreshed fast enough for you, and you just went back to something else, because it's been like that for like a year and a half for me or something. So I've always been using this app, because every time Marco puts out a new version of Overcast, I try the watch app again, and it's still too slow on my first gen Apple Watch. So I just give up and go back to the Now Playing.
Because it's the same thing for the Overcast, like the title and especially the artwork is switched at the very, very last, and you can always skip forward before the title and the artwork is changed.
Yeah, the commands go through quickly, but the assets update are not being done quickly.
Exactly. And it's useful when you're listening to, like when you've opened it, say 15, 20 minutes ago, to skip the previous ad. Like when the app is in memory, it works pretty good.
Yeah. So Apple this week released their quarterly results, and we might have not guessed, but they made more money. Again. So how much are they now in the bank? Like 250?
I have no idea. I know that they made more money than before, and everything's going up except for iPad.
Yeah, which is going down year over year, quarter by quarter. So I think it's like the 16th or something consecutive quarters that, from comparing it to the previous year's same quarter, it still goes down like a couple of percentage every quarter. So it's sad, but you think like there's going to be like a change like in a year or two, or the iPad is just going to die off like that slowly?
Well, it's still, like in itself, it's still a huge business. It's just because we're always comparing it against like the iPhone and other like the iPod, but it's a huge business in itself.
Yeah, but the problem is that the business took off way too fast and went to like skyrocketed to a level that is unsustainable. But even if it goes down year over year, once in a while, okay, fine. But there are new projects, there are new products, there are new versions of the iPads, and even with those, you don't see it pick up some momentum back and raise again. It's always going down, down, down. So even though it's a good business, it's still like a dying business, if you want.
Yeah, but I think it's going to pick up, or just like not stay at the same level. Well, it's still going down though. It'd have to be like, it'd have to plateau already.
Yeah, I really hope that it's because there was way too many people who bought like the iPad 2 and let's say iPad 3, 4, because they were released like very closely one after the other, and these up until recently were still fairly usable, and I'm guessing that most people who bought those really liked them when they got them, but maybe they did not like embrace the iPad life as some other professionals have. And once their device was like not used anymore, they probably just handed down to somebody else in the family, like their mom or whatever, who doesn't care that the iPad 2 is slow or as such. So they did not purchase a new one. So that's my guess, that for what it was great for a long time, and then most of them probably did not like buy a new model, so that the sales don't show that. And the only people that kind of raise the numbers are pros, but not enough to basically account for the same amount of people who did not buy a new device. So that's why it's still going down, but it's probably slowed down the curve. Let's imagine a world where the last iPad release was like the iPad Air 1, for example, and there were no iPad Pro whatsoever released. We would have seen like a major drop in those percentage year over year. Now it's still dropping, but it's dropping slowly because they are the Pro market that are helping. But the Pro market being the Pro market, it's not a big enough percentage of the overall market to justify big numbers like 20% or whatever. It's only like a few percentage here and there. So that's my take on that.
Yeah, because I just handed down my iPad 2 to my sister-in-law, and she uses it without complaining, and she doesn't realize the screen is not Retina, and she doesn't care. She just planned her whole trip to Thailand on the thing without a problem.
Yeah, well, it kind of helped that first it's a gift, and two, why would they complain it's a gift? and three, if they didn't have anything else, like I know my mom, like she still has her old compact Presario computer from 2004 or something. It still runs. It has like a Windows XP crappy version thingy. It came with SE, so good for her that she's an XP, but it still runs, and it runs super slow. You want to like start a YouTube video, it takes like a good 2 minutes for the page to load and the video to start playing. But that's what she's used to, and it was always that slow. So I'm guessing that people that are not in nerds like us, like they don't care that much about speed, and that's why even the iPad 2 was fast enough, even today, for somebody who just gets it like as a gift. So yeah, it's a bit sad, because if you use an iPad 2, because I have an iPad 2 at home still, and I also have like a Baby Pro, and when you go from one to the other, it's like night and day, and like everything loads fast, everything like responds, and you don't wait for the machine. And I know it's because I'm a geek and I'm a nerd and I love all those performance numbers and everything, but for me, it gets on my nerves so much that I have to wait for the machine to do its work. I consider myself a big pile of flesh that is not fast, and the machine has to be faster than me. And if it's not, there's a problem somewhere. So when you go from the iPad 2 to the Baby Pro, it's like night and day, and I really love it. And I would not see myself using an iPad 2 like daily for like even just like consuming media. Like it works, but it's a pain. So, but then again, I'm a big nerd, so.
Yes, I'm looking at the graphs on 6 Colors, and the quarterly iPad sales have been down since 2014.
Okay, so a good 3 years. So that's like 3 times 4, 12 quarters.
Yeah. I'll bet the biggest year is, well, the biggest quarter is first quarter of 14. But then second quarter of 14 was smaller than second quarter of 13 the year before. So it was just this Christmas, the 14 Christmas, that was like out of whack with the rest of the curve, if you want.
Okay.
But it's been going down since.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I see the graph right now. So, and it's millions of iPads. So they sell about 8.9 million iPads, maybe an average of about 10 if you count the Christmas quarter. So 10 million iPads per quarter, 40 million per year. And like you said, it's not a bad business. I don't know the numbers in billions, but it's probably quite a bit of $billion. And if we don't have the numbers for the Apple Watch, right? Because they don't split it.
Scroll down, you'll see the numbers in billions. It's 4.2 billion, 4.6 billion.
4.6, okay.
For the past quarter.
Yeah.
It's still a lot of money.
Yeah, it's half of what it was like in 2013. So, but you see, like in 2016, Q2, Q3, and Q4, they raised in terms of billions of revenues. Probably because they released new versions with higher capacity, and the ASP, the average selling price, went up.
Yeah.
So that's why they made more money. But nothing dramatic here, just a slight bump. All right, so after Apple releasing numbers, there's a company who tries to increase their numbers by releasing a new Windows Surface laptop, which is a Microsoft. So basically, if I summarize this, you all know about the Surface, which is the iPad by Microsoft, which has a clicky keyboard you can attach to it, and it makes a snap noise, and you could see this in commercials like every freaking day. But now they released a laptop, so it's not something you can remove the keyboard. It's a fixed laptop keyboard with a screen. It's still a touch screen. They released it like a very Apple-esque fashion. They even have like a video on presenting how they manufacture the device, and even another video of presenting the device with all the colors, because this one has 4 different colors. And I'm pretty happy that Microsoft tries that. Like you got like the regular kind of grayish, the kind of space grayish, and there's like a burgundy and a blue. I don't remember the type of blue, but it's kind of like not like a royal blue, but it's a blue. So what is this? This is kind of like a direct competitor to the MacBook, or what a MacBook Air would have been if the model would have been updated over the years with newer tech. You got a nice screen. You got which is a touch screen. You got a full size laptop keyboard, which is eerily similar to the Apple Magic keyboard, with the up and down arrows on the same key, like I absolutely hate. But the one thing that is quite like striking with this model is that they actually put the Alcantara fabric on the top side of the keyboard section. So in between the keys and on the sides of the touchpad, they got like this fabric, which is the same as the one you have on the roof inside of Teslas, and also on the Bose QC35. The interior lining is also made of Alcantara. And if you were to look at my headphones, which I've been using for a couple of months, you would see that this little thingy is quite nice, but it picks up dirt like crazy.
It's impossible to wash.
Yeah, really, because if you rub it too much, you just like ruin the fabric. So it's basically like you get it and you either treat it with some kind of treatment to repel water and stains and everything, or you leave it like that and you eventually get screwed. Because, yeah, it gets dirty fast. And I don't know if you remember the times of the plastic MacBook with the white one, where people were complaining that their hands were actually like dirty and grimy, and they were actually like discoloring the plastic of the laptop, and which is probably one of the most important reasons why Apple switched to titanium and eventually aluminum, is because these materials are much more resistant to that. But look at this. It's a brand new computer for 2017 with fabric on top. And at the same time I was thinking about that, I saw something go by from Boy Genius Report, quoting a guy from Reddit who asks how can he clean his, because he has the Surface, which had a, what is it called? The signature type cover, which is the keyboard attachment, which is also like the iron one with Alcantara. And if you look at the pictures in the show notes, it's quite impressive how this thing is like brownish and dirty. And he asked like on Reddit, like, how can I clean that? I tried like soft soap, I've tried like everything, and nothing works.
The answer is you can't. You throw it away and you buy a new one. Exactly,
because this fabric thingy is not like a natural fabric. It's kind of like a fake suede, and it's like it's engineered to be nice looking, but I don't think it's been engineered like nylon to be resistant.
I think it was mostly used in cars at the beginning. It's very grippy when you have special gloves on. So they use it for the steering wheel and like every touch points, like your shifter and everything, and it's very, very grippy. But you have to change it often, and you can't wash it. People use compressed air sometimes to like get the dirt out, but you can't really wash stains out or anything.
Yeah. So for $999 starting at, of course, you get this new laptop, which looks nice if you take away this Alcantara part. USB-A, that is weird. No USB-C on this device. I guess I shouldn't be surprised. So often Microsoft and other Windows manufacturer basically take each point that people are complaining about the latest Apple product and, in air quotes, fix it by usually like going backwards. And like I remember when the iMac came out, I've seen those at the Future Shop store near my house, and like the following weeks there was like a gateway computer, or the other one, the cow one, was the Packard Bell, whatever. And it came out and it was like touting like a big little signs, big sign saying that this one has like 2 floppy disk drives instead of 1. While in the past months, at most you had 1, and very rarely would you see 2. And this one was touting like in big marketing terms that this one had 2 floppy drive, just because the iMac has none, So this is exactly the same thing. Like people complain about the USB-C transition, and now Microsoft says, okay, fine, we'll put 2 USB-A on that. That is weird. Will you buy one?
No.
What a stupid question to ask.
No, I don't think so. I'm not in the market for a Windows laptop.
Yeah, who is?
And
Sigbird.
What's the price again?
$999. So
And-
$300 less than a MacBook, and I think they said like 40% faster than a MacBook or something like that, because it uses the latest chips of Intel. So of course you get better performance, and you get also 14.5 hours of battery life. So not bad. And the screen is a bit bigger. It's 13.5 instead of 12. So all in all, if you do like I know that Microsoft likes those big like numbers comparison charts, and if you put like the MacBook in one column and the Surface laptop in the other, I think like most of the numbers are just bigger, and as if that's the only thing that means something. But yeah, so better battery life, better price, better performance. The only thing that is the one thing that really surprised me, aside from the Alcantara lining, is that it runs Windows 10 S, which is not a stripped down version, but kind of like a sandboxed version. So all you can do on that Windows is install apps from the Microsoft App Store, basically. People were complaining on macOS that the Mac App Store is too sandboxed, too restricting, and we are always afraid of a day where that would come, where Apple would say it's the Mac App Store or nothing, and that would be quite a big problem. And Windows actually, Microsoft did it with that laptop, is when you get it and you buy it, if you open it and try to install Photoshop from your back of the truck case that you got from a friend, it will not work. You need to go through the App Store. So that is weird. You can get out of that situation if you pay $50 to get the quote full version of the Windows OS kind of thing. So, but that is surprising. I can understand why it makes for a safer computer, but yeah, it's a bold move. This, if we can say so, maybe I would add here #courage.
What?
Courage.
There's no press shots of the machine. Okay, I have some now.
Yeah, there are. There's a video.
There's one USB-A and a mini display port with a headphone jack.
Yeah, but that's it. There's no USB-C.
No.
There's no HDMI.
There's an SD card slot.
Yeah. So see, when I said that they tried to add everything that the Apple product does not have, it's exactly that.
Oh, and you can't take off the I thought it removed and you can use it as a tablet.
No. It's
The
a
bottom.
laptop. Nope, it's a laptop.
Okay.
The hinge is permanent.
So you can't replace their Alcantara, because the picture you were showing of the guy that had this gross Alcantara little keyboard, I think they're like $150 those keyboards. So you can just replace them.
Yeah, exactly. This
But
guy
this
had
one,
the
you can't.
Surface keyboard, and yeah, this one is permanent.
Interesting.
Yep. Moving on to another product release this week, Nintendo released a Nintendo 2DS XL. So without going into details of each and every Nintendo 3DS version that was released since the console came out, basically the 2DS was a slab with buttons and screens, which was basically non-folding version of the 3DS. So take your 3DS, open it, and imagine that there's no hinge, and it's like a big chunk of plastic. That was it, and there was no 3D in there. So parents afraid of the 3D or afraid that their kids would be sick from watching 3D little things there, they could buy this one. And then they released a new 3DS, which has a better 3D support, which is the one I have, which is pretty nice and should have been the 3DS that came out when they released the console initially. And now Nintendo still brings out a new console, probably just to say that to the market that even though the Switch is out and they have a big focus on that, they are still supporting the portable, cheap console platform and not just dropping it. So this one is a 3DS looking device. So it's basically with an hinge folding like the 3DS was, but without the 3D. So you're back to the 2D graphics, but like better, stronger plastic. I don't know. I don't think the screens are like slightly are better actually, but it's kind of like everything that was learned, if you want, over the years for all the different 3DS and 2DS version, but put into like a better package if you want. So if you want the ultimate 3DS line console, this is the one to get. And it's not that expensive. It's $199, so it will be available July 28th. And I will not be getting this one. So my 3DS XL is nice, and there are still good games on it, but my focus is mainly on the Switch now.
Is this marketed for, or is this for like younger children or something?
Yeah, usually the DS line is actually for younger children. The games are cheaper. The consoles are usually sturdier, bigger plastic.
It looks bulletproof.
Yeah, yeah. It's quite round, this one. So usually where they are closer to the square shape, but this one is rounder. And it's all plastic screen. There's no glass in there, so nothing can shatter. Nothing can like easily break. Kids drop those like in staircase and they're still fine. So yeah. And Nintendo has many, many decades of experience with plastic gadgets, and they know how to make one that is sturdy and good looking, I would say. And I'm expecting new versions in the coming months with different paint jobs on them, because this one is black and blue, but you'll probably get like a red and black because Mario is red and Nintendo's logo is red, and maybe there will be a Yoshi one eventually if there's a new Yoshi game coming out. So yeah, it's a nice console. So if you were thinking of buying a portable console, this one is the one to get, I would say right now. Due to the fact that it's cheap and it has the best of everything, and you won't be missing the 3D. It's a fun little gimmick, but I usually turn it off. The latest 3DS, I kept it on because it worked quite well. But for all the years I had the 3DS before that, I never I tried it for every game I got, but I never kept it on. And on this console, you've got a couple years of backlog of games. You can find some that are used on eBay for like $5 and stuff like that. And you can get like tens and tens of hours of gameplay in those. So yeah, there's a lot to play.
Do you have a little update on the Switch while we're at it?
Yep, it's still great. Since last time I've talked about it, I got a screen protector. Basically because the kids are kind of rough when they dock it in the little dock. And if it's clean, I'm not afraid because there are little pads there so that the screen doesn't touch the dock. But I've seen pictures on Reddit where people actually had like dust or sand grains or something. So when they docked it actually scratched the screen, because being Nintendo, the screen is not glass, it's plastic. So it's very, very easy to scratch. So what I did is I got a Pigeon screen protector. I'll add the link in the show notes so that we can share that with you. So yeah, it's basically just a big slab of glass. The screen protector is glass. And you just you have little tabs on the sides and you just line it up, drop it there, use a credit card to remove the bubbles. And since it's like a rigid glass, it's super easy to install. And the effect is very nice. The screen is like glidier. It glides a lot easier. And I'm not afraid anymore about that. Especially that I use my console on the go. And I constantly put it back in my bag and its little pouch. So there was a zipper on the pouch. So there's always risks. But now I'm not afraid anymore. So that's what I got. I got Mario Kart also this week. So that's a nice one. We played at work yesterday. With the 3 remotes. So my friend brought his also, and on the same screen of my Nintendo Switch, we were playing 3 players Mario Kart. So the screen was cut in 4. So we each have a little 2-inch screen to play. So yeah, that's when you see that the design is made in Japan. The controllers, when you're using them on the sides, it's so tiny. It's very hard to play. Especially that I don't have any small hands. I have big hands, and they are super small, the controllers. So yeah, I'm hoping that there might be a future Joy-Con, which a Joy-Con XL for bigger hands, because I wouldn't care to get a bigger side controllers and would make the overall Switch size bigger. I wouldn't care if the joysticks were better, because I tried the dedicated Pro controller, like the one you buy separately to play on your TV, which looks exactly like a Xbox controller, and this one has amazing joysticks. Like, they are bigger, bulkier, and one of the problems I have with the small ones that are included with the console is that when you run in Zelda, you can advertently hit the scope button, which is pressing down like on the joystick itself, not moving it down, but pressing on it. And when you run, you tilt it forward, and you always like put too much force on it, and it clicks, and that kind of like puts you in scope mode. And while you're fighting a big bad guy, it's not rare you get like hit in the head because you're not doing what you were expecting to do. So I'm expecting in the future a better Joy-Con setup. But yeah, it works. 3 players on Mario Kart was fun. We did a couple of races like that, a couple of battle modes, so that's great. Still on Zelda, still haven't finished it. I did all the big bosses. Only have Ganon left. I still haven't taken a peek at the castle except to get the shield. So there are still way too much stuff to do. And we learned that the DLC for this summer will be even better than we're expecting. So that'll be very fun. A bunch of new weapons, a bunch of new items, and a few new maps. So yeah, for that $20, it's well worth it. All right, so moving on to the last news. Last year, Vizio released a bunch of televisions with a little Android tablet as a remote. So instead of having the regular TV remote, you had a small, I think it was 4 or 5 inch tablet, which basically has its own little dock. And it was all nice and dandy. But this year they released a new version of the same TVs, and they don't have any of those anymore. So the TV itself still acts as a Chromecast device, which the remote from last year enabled the TV to do. But now it's only like a TV with Chromecast enabled, so it shows up whenever you want to cast something to your TV. But the remote is back to the regular clicky up, down, left, right, OK buttons. So that's a good thing. They released the M series and new P series. The branding changed. It's like now they call it the XLED, which is kind of like to respond, I would guess, to the OLED from LG, which is not OLED. It's still just regular LEDs, but like higher quality. So you can get like high DPI high color gamut and nice backlighting from those TVs. So this will probably be my next model, the TV I'm going to buy this year. I was waiting for the new models to come out, so they are now announced, and hopefully they'll be available like in our Canadian stores soon. So yeah, it's funny to see them go back to the regular remote. I guess people didn't like it too much. It looked nice, but as a geek, I always like these kind of things. Like, give me a little tablet to control something and I'll be happy. But I'm guessing that the rest of the consumer population didn't like it too much, and they might had lots of returns for that. So yeah,
I'm anxious to buy a new TV, but not at the same time because they're so expensive for what I want.
Why so expensive? You want to go like OLED all the way, or?
Well, it's a TV. You don't change it every year, so I'd buy like the latest, greatest, I guess, and it's expensive.
Yeah, it can go up to $40,000.
Yeah, to get the super thin one there from LG, 8K or whatever, with the little wire coming out.
I think this one's like 8,000 or something. So
yeah, that's expensive.
Yeah, but you don't get that. Like, this is in the realm of almost like we announce it, but we never release it kind of products, which we see at CES every year. Like, oh, this is a super nice, like kind of like a frame from Samsung that has its own legs, but then you'll never see that in stores, and then you see it in the stores like a couple months later for $40,000, and then okay, so it's on sale now. It's $30,000, but nobody buys it. It's just like they kind of feel like pushed into releasing it, but I'm sure it was just only for displaying their capabilities of manufacturing special things like that. But nobody buys it usually. And same thing for the LG with the little speaker bar with the speakers that like slide out and everything. Super nice to look at, but that's not usually the thing that people buy unless you're filthy rich. If you want to get like into the high end of what people actually buy, you can get the LG B6, which is the OLED display from this year, which is about 3,000, I think. So that's like the top end of the top end.
It's not too bad.
Yeah, for a 65-inch, I think. So it's the top end in terms of reviews. If you look at the review sites, that's usually the one that they recommend if you want to go all in into the best quality of screen. And if you want to go like one step lower, then you get into the Vizio P series, which is the one I want to get, which is not as nice as OLED, but it's very close in terms of contrast and quality of colors and everything. So it's about like 2,300. You can sometimes get it in special at 2,000 in Canadians. So it's much more affordable, but still like in the high end. And if you just don't want to go too high, the Vizio M series is basically the same thing with less backlight zones. So you basically get like not as good of backlighting as the P series, but still pretty good. And that's like in 1,400, 1,500. So it's more affordable. So yeah, that's what you usually get. There's also a bunch of LG and Samsung models below that, but every store is different and it's hard to compare and shop for the good price. So yeah.
So right now you get the Vizio P series and you call
That's
it
what
a day?
Yeah, that's what I would do, because it's a good balance of featureful, yes, expensive, but not that expensive. But you get like kind of the second best on the market, and for the price, I think it's the best. If I wanted to get unless I find like a super deal on the RGB6, then I wouldn't hesitate for a second, because OLED really does give you like a much better screen quality and the blacks. There's even MKBHD video that he released this week about this TV, the LG B6. He got the 55-inch, and you look at him. Of course, this guy is like the king of image quality on his videos, but just looking at the video, you see him next to the TV, and the TV looks like a hole in the wall showing like a different world. Like, you don't see it as a TV, you see it as like something that is 100% realistic. So it's quite impressive.
Is that the super thin one with this little wire coming out there with the big base?
No, sorry. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's the one that he tested. Sorry, I thought it was the B6, but no, it's the big one. Yeah, that's $8,000. But if you get the B6, you get a similar screen, which is you don't get the speaker bar and the super thinness of it, but you get most of the nice things about it.
So this week in the app corner, we have a new app called Wire. It's Wire app. It's a messaging app, and it's all encrypted. So it's like Signal, or what's the other one there? Telegram? Wasn't Telegram all encrypted?
Yeah, I think so.
Or maybe not, whatever. So it's WhatsApp. It's the same thing. It's just they promote that it's all encrypted end to end. It's your basic messaging app. I think you can do video, audio, send GIFs, send pictures, scribble stuff over your messages. It's full featured message app.
Yeah. Also, it's open source, so you can see the source code and see exactly if what they're saying is true. And it's GitHub hosted, and it's the servers are hosted in Swiss, so it's all EU hosted and protected by European laws. So when they say that they are not like listening in on your conversations and everything, it's all backed by Swiss laws, which are super restrictive for that, and you can feel in peace that your data is well protected. So it's not a bad messaging app. It's pretty nice. So that's cool. It's iOS, Android, Mac, Windows, Linux, and web. So not everything web. Safari is not supported. I'm guessing there are some APIs that are not supported by Safari for now. But if you use Chrome, you can use it in the web.
So that's it.
Yep, that's a simple thing. All free, all nice. I discovered this week something called Pluto TV, which is a funny kind of hybrid. It's like a PVR software lookalike. So you basically have channels and you have time slots and you have shows, but everything is hosted on YouTube, and you are shown the YouTube YouTube ads. So it's the real thing. Like it's not like some hackery stuff, whatever. It's a nice service, which is free for use. You have a bunch of channels, so you can have like a what are they called? I don't remember, but like there's like a food channel. There's like cartoons that are old cartoons, and there's kids TV. There's a bunch of stuff. So it's this is like 75 plus live channels, and you can basically download the app on your favorite device, and it's like all devices basically, like Roku, Fire TV, Apple TV, Chromecast, Android, iPhone, anything. Like even TV OS have the different the apps. It's pretty nice actually. I was quite surprised. It's not the first time I've seen something like that. You do have like a bunch of shows that you have to tune in at a certain time to watch, but there are also some time slots where you can click and start the show even though the time is not there yet. So it's like a hybrid between like YouTube viewing by channels and like fixed time broadcasts. So it's pretty nice. It's free. You can also add to your calendars a couple of shows that you don't want to miss. There's a bunch of content creators on YouTube that have like lots of content, like the Nerdist, or Sky News or Shout TV, which have lots of content, and that I'm guessing that this service helps them organize it like into like a TV like setup, so that they can, with very few effort, go on this service and offer their content. If you like some of those channels and you have not seen the whole back catalog, this can be quite interesting to just launch, tune in, and watch a bunch of shows from your favorite channel in a row. So it's a cool little thing. So Pluto.tv, that's where you'll find it. Yeah, just try it. It's very nice.
Do you know if it works in Canada?
Yeah, I tried it at work, and it was pretty well.
Okay, is there any restrictions in the channels like NBC or whatever?
Well, you don't have the regular channel. That's the weird thing. Let me just start it up. I'm just going to show you what I have right now.
Because right here they have the US mobile app and then international. International mobile app. So I'm guessing there's a couple differences.
Yeah, well, it's probably the channels, I guess, because there are some.
It says right here, due to streaming rights, channels may vary.
Yeah, because so often you just try to launch a video and it says it's not available in your country. Well, that's the kind of thing that filters by country. So right now you see I've got about 75 channels, I would say. There's a bunch of music channels also. But if I just go quickly across them and point out interesting ones, there's Space Channel. So it's all space stuff. There's the Weather Network for us in Canada, so that's cool. There's Bloomberg Television. There's a few sports like kickboxing and extreme sports. There's The Onion and Cracked, who has comedy channels. And for Geek and Gaming, you've got CNET, IGN, Geek and Sundry, Nerdist. So there's a bunch of like chill out, like 4K TV, which is basically like just drone shots around the world in high definition, I guess. NASA TV, that's also there, where they live stream everything NASA. So and there's the Jimmy Fallon stuff. So like you get like those channels that are on YouTube and popular, and you get some other content which I might also be on YouTube, but I just never stumble upon. And they're lined up in a nice little UI that is exactly what your PVR system looks like. So yeah, it's pretty nice. You can subscribe to get, I guess, hide channels you don't care for, stuff like that. There's also a remote you can use from your phone, I guess. So yeah, it's a full-featured app. And finally, one last suggestion. For many, many years, we had the possibility to use Bartender, which is a menu bar hider organizer app. And it's good. I've used this in the past many times. Never quite enough to actually buy it. So once my trial ended, I usually just lived without it, no problem. But there's a new one. There's a new guy in town, which is called Vanilla, which is an app by Matthew Palmer. Basically, it does this similar thing. You just drag and drop icons to the left side of a little dot, and whatever is to the left side hides the icons. So you'll see in the show notes that I've put a screenshot of my current menu bar, which is basically the notification, time, battery, and the little arrow thing to open the apps. So yeah, that's basically it. You can try it for free, and there's I think it's $6. Well, $5 US, probably 6 or something in Canadians, for advanced features like just auto hide after a few seconds and stuff like that. So it's worth it. He could have made it like paid upfront, and I would have did it, but for $5, it's worth it. All right, so for Review Corner this week, finally, after many weeks, the Sony MDR-1000X, which is basically Sony's response to the almighty Bose QC35, which we reviewed in episode 14. Links will be in the show notes. So basically, the 1000X are based on another pair of headphones by Sony, which has high quality drivers, and so you get the same audio component from those higher end headphones, but you get all the nice stuff of a wireless headset. So the design is very minimalistic, very low in terms of flashiness. It's all black. There's a metal band on the top, and everything else is black. You got a kind of a very similar to Bose kind of swivelly setup, so you can like fold it and put it into its little case. The headrest has plastic under instead of Alcantara, so it will probably stay nicer longer. It's not going to be grimy and stuff. The side, both ear cups on the exterior side have some kind of a leather-like texture. Not sure it's really leather, but it's really close to that. So you can have a few nice features that Sony actually invented if you want. The right ear cup is a touch-enabled surface, so you can double tap to pause, double tap to resume. You can also swipe up or swipe down to move the volume. It's not the best control, meaning that it's not perfect, but out of each and every other pairs I tried with touch controls, this is the one that's closest to being perfect. I don't think it's very easy to get it to work perfectly because you don't want to trigger accidental touches, but you also need to trigger when you want, so you have to kind of like put some emphasis on your movements. So you really have to like swipe a lot from really the bottom to the top to get the volume to rise on a significant amount. So I'm guessing that's why it's like that. But the super smart thing is, let's say you're listening to music, you've got your headset on, you got the noise cancelling on, you're in your little bubble there, and somebody comes up and wants to talk to you. All you have to do is not remove the headset. You just put your right hand on the right ear cup, and the headset detects that and enables the microphones to let the noise go through and lowers your music. So you can still hear the person talking. You can still hear your music like very, very low. And yeah, so it's a good way to actually like keep your headset on and listen to your environment. In terms of buttons, like I said, it's mainly touch enabled, but on the left ear cup, there's actually 3 buttons there. The power button, of course, and the noise cancelling button, so you can turn it on or off, so that's cool. The Bose, you cannot. It's either they're on and the noise cancelling is on, and that's it. And there's also the ambient sound, so you can optimize the sound profile to be either voice or music. So depending on what you're listening to, it can make a big difference. The ear cups themselves are not as large as the Bose, but they're quite flexible and comfortable. So my ears, which are usually, I would say, big, they do fit inside properly. And the little pads are memory foam, kind of very similar to the Bose, just a tad bit sturdier, I would say. So if you ever tried Bose, you know that they're super squishy, and this one is a little bit less squishy. That's about it. There's also NFC enabled, as it is with any Sony products, so you can quick pair to your device if you have an Android phone, and if you have an iPhone, you can do the usual Bluetooth pairing. There are two limitations, I would say. Well, one very major for me, which is basically the pairing. It's single device pairing, so you cannot like have your phone and your iPad and your Apple TV and your Mac. It's only one device at a time, so you have to unpair and repair. So that's a big bummer for me, because I swap between my Mac and my iPhone and my Apple TV, and even my watch, which I've tried recently. So that's very sad, and I looked around and I don't see any openings from Sony to change that. And the other downside is, like the Bose, they tend to be sweaty during summer because they are quite large on your ears, but these are a bit worse. I get very hot quickly, much quicker, and so it does not breathe enough, I would say. So it's probably because the pads are actually like covered in plastic / leather instead of being like another type of fabric that is more breathable. But yeah, other than that, the sound quality is amazing. So like there's a saying for Bose that no highs, no lows, it must be Bose. Well, this is not the case. You can see that the drivers from these headphones come from a much more expensive pair, and you can hear it. The sound quality is amazing. The bass is very present. You can hear the highs and the lows with no problems. This is not the best pair I've tried, but it's high up there in the top 2 or 3 pairs I tried in my life. So yeah.
So Bose or Sony?
It's a hard question. If I had like both in front of me and I had to choose, I think I would still choose the Bose because of the multi-device setup. Even though I do have problems with my Bose QC35 often, where it just says iPhone 7 and then it doesn't pair, and then for some reason I have to toggle between devices, and eventually it picks it up and connects to it. I still prefer that little annoyance than having to unpair and repair constantly my devices, because like in one day I can switch like 5 or 6 times. So for me that's a deal breaker. But if it's for at home listening, yes, these are much better. The music is much better also. So yeah, for my personal, I was about to say way of life, but my personal preference, Bose is still ahead just because of the multi-device. If Sony were to update the firmware on those MDR-1000X and add multi-device, then I would switch right away.
Yeah, I have a colleague at work that just bought them. They're very nice. Like as a piece of hardware, they're very nice. They feel a lot more expensive than my Bose. I don't have the QC2035 that you have, but I have like a cheaper model without the noise canceling, but the build quality just feels more expensive and more nice. And I like the sleek. There's no Sony written nowhere, or they're just a black set of headphones.
Yeah, well, it's written Sony like on the ear cups, on the top of the ear cups, but it's not like a metal or gray logo. It's like black on black. So
right.
It's the only thing that's written is the NFC little logo on the left ear cups, and there's also a little tag with wireless on the headband, and on the other side it's MDR-1000X. There's written like a white on black. So that's the only thing there that's branded, if you want, apart from the left and right little circles to tell you which ear is which, but the rest is all black, and it looks pretty amazing. So you can see that that's the Sony quality right there, like manufacturing, design, like being very professional and sleek.
But I could live without the fast switching there on the Bose. In the morning, I use it with my phone. And sometimes in the train, I switch to my laptop. Then when I get to work, I switch to my work computer. Then when I get back in the train, I switch back to the phone or the laptop. And then at night, sometimes I switch to the Apple TV. So
yeah, it's a deal breaker for me. Sorry, Sony.
And especially since you just found out you don't have to wait till it connects. You can actually switch.
Yeah, that's me being silly. I didn't realize that you could actually swipe the little button forward to toggle between devices. I was only putting it on and then waiting. It would say connected to MacBook Pro, connecting to iPhone, connecting. And then after 2 minutes, it was realized that the MacBook wasn't there, and it would switch to the iPhone, and then I would be connected. But I didn't know that, so now I turn it on. It says usually, I called my MacBook 13 because of that, because I don't want the serial number to be written out loud. That's what we have by default as a computer name at work. So CSEQ5 35 it takes too long, so I just named it 13, and my iPhone, which was named Darth Vader, was actually renamed 7 just to be shorter. So now it's 13. And I switched to 7, then 7. And I would say 1 time out of 3, it sticks there and wait maybe 30 seconds before realizing that the device is available. But often it's just 7, connected to 7, and that's it. So yeah, it's much faster.
I think so. That's it for this week. You can find the show notes at RGBA.fm/49. Yes, it's already the 49th. Big special 50. Big 50 next week.
Oh yeah, amazing show. Lots of invitees and lots of guests. And
free open bar.
Oh yeah, everything.
Okay, you can also find us on Twitter at _RGBAfm. You can find Alex at Valliere, and you can find me at Tyler Menard on Twitter also. And have a nice week.
Have a nice week.